Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Unity Lounge podcast. I'm Connie.
I'm Deja.
And this week, the topic we have is control.
What does it mean to be in control?
Or if you can even be in control at all. That's the question.
At this point, I don't believe we can be in control.
I really don't. It is not something that I believe I can do. Although I would like the illusion of being able to be in control of situations.
Yeah.
And my own life. But I like the idea of it, but I know very well that control is an illusion. It is not something that we actually have. The only thing that you can really control is your actions, how you really react to kind of like as life happens to you. And that's kind of like my kind of little intro.
Oh, okay.
To control. I know you have your definitions always.
Yeah,
so
I always have
can
my
give you your
Oxford
space for that.
definitions. So control. The power to influence or direct people's behavior or course of events. Which is crazy to me because it's kind of counterintuitive. Because how can you say you have the power to influence or direct a person's a person's behavior?
Cough. Don't cough.
I can't cough.
Oh, okay.
Like, how can we say that we can direct a person's behavior or say we're influencing it?
I think it's actually like a form of manipulation for sure to when you think you can control someone, or if you know someone, how they are, how they act, and how like kind of like whatever they do, how they will receive your actions, or how they will receive whatever you're saying to try to control and manipulate them. So if you know that they respond well to like praises or something like that, it really kind of, if you praise this person a lot, you can get what you want. And it's very manipulative in the wrong hands.
Yeah.
But I feel like if you use it in a way that's not really harmful, but just like to get your point across, to be able to do what you want to do in a way that's not really harming others or affecting them negatively, I think it's okay to a certain degree. Like not to you're like, no, it's not. Like, how could you say that?
No, I agree. Like, you could take the horse to the water, but you can't make them drink. So
That's true.
The person has to be receptive. And at that point, you're not in control, but you do have some influence in that case. But if the person's not receptive at all, like, there's no way to say that you can influence or direct them in a decision.
Yeah. I think, like, just your words, like, influence and control, the next thing that came to me was power. So, like, I feel like influence is, like, at the bottom of the kind of pyramid, and then control is, although it is, like, false, it's not, like, something that you can truly have.
You can't entirely have
I don't think you can entirely have, no. Like, people can believe that you're in control, but the reality is, like, they're not machines. They're not something it's not something physical where you can put something down and you have control over where this goes, because this cup, I put it down, that's my control over it. Like, it's a physical control over it. But, like, for people, because they have their own free will and they have their own ways of thinking, it's hard to be like, okay, I put you down here, and they'd be like, oh yeah, but I saw that over there, and they go, right?
Yeah.
But, like, so when I just think, like, kingdoms, because I started watching Game of Thrones. So I'm like, oh, what does it mean to be in control? Like, a king who... I'm sorry, I had to in my throat. A king who actually truly is able to lead and his kingdom and his people, like, does he have control over them? Or does he have influence over them?
Influence.
I think a lot of what we can do is to have influence over people, but control is not something that we can truly have unless someone has given away their free will. Because if we keep this, we were given free will, and without it, that's when we lose our own control over ourselves.
I agree. I completely agree. Like, control's a funny thing. Like, we can control a lot of things, but at the same time, we can't. We can control our feelings and the way we react and the choices we make, but we can't entirely control in the situation or the circumstances that we're facing. But we do control our oh my goodness, it's all the laughing we were doing earlier.
I know.
We do control the choices we make, and that can lead us into different paths in life, different avenues in which we can choose to go. That's what we have control over. But even then, we don't.
Yeah.
It's just so crazy to me.
Yeah. I didn't write it down, but I think that control goes hand in hand with power as well. Because in a sense, because I remember watching the Yellowstone, yeah. Yellowstone, and there's I've seen the clip before I saw the episode of the lady, Casey's wife.
Oh, what's her name again?
I can't remember her name. Monica.
Yes.
Monica goes into the university, and then she's like, what's the definition of power? And then essentially power was the ability to influence, or like, it was very similar to control, to direct someone's course of events or something like that.
Yeah.
And then like just the way she said that kind of
goes hand in hand.
It kind of reminded me right now of like that definition of control. Like, I don't know exactly, don't quote me, but I think it is something that you have to think about. Like, if you have control over something, does that give you power? Do you have power over it? Is it the same thing? I think that's something that we could explore and kind of like talk through.
It's complex in a way, because it's like, yeah, you got control and it does give you power, but to what extent?
As well.
Because it really depends on the people that you're trying to control or you think you have power over.
Yeah.
Because everybody has a mind of their own.
That's true. Because we were given the free will to do what we want, to have choices over our life.
Yeah.
So no one truly has control or power over our lives except for ourselves.
Yeah.
When you think about it, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Like, just the simplest thing of dictating your own day. You have control over your day. Even though maybe you're going out for a walk and it rains, but you have control over how you perceive that. Do you want your day to be ruined? And if you see like, oh, you know what? Rain it's nice, it's refreshing. I'm going to just keep walking in the rain. And that's changing, like,
your perspective.
Yeah.
On things that you may not have control over. But that's all a part of it. Is there's some things that you have control over and there's some things that you don't. And you have to be okay with realizing, like, hey, I don't have power over this. And that's okay. I'm going to turn it for the better for me. Like, it's not always black and white, right and wrong. It's about, like, for me, when I make decisions where I have control over how I act or what I choose, for me, I like to follow peace. What is going to give me the most peace? What do I think God is trying to tell me in that moment, in that season? And I'm not saying I always get it right, because I know sometimes I don't. And that's where free will plays a role in it too, because you can know what's the best decision for you, but you also have the option to not go down that avenue if you don't want to.
I feel that.
So, but we have to understand that, like, we have a control over a lot of things and control over our emotions and reactions. So once we're able to get in tune with that and understand that, our perspective on a lot of things change drastically. And, like, you can't change the outcomes of a lot of things, but you can change the way you react, what you feel, what feelings you decide to act on in the moment.
That's true.
And, like, you can control actions, but you can never control what happened in the past, and you cannot control what happens in the future. So.
And you can't even control what happens in the present sometimes.
No.
Like, it's kind of wild. It might be your life and you're living it, but sometimes you feel like life is happening to you. Or was it at you or not to you?
It's happening to you, not for you?
Not for you. I think something like that.
I feel like that.
Something.
I get you.
Yeah, you get me. That's fine. That's fine. But yeah, it's more so like it is happening around you, or things are happening to your life where you don't have control over that. But then you do have, like we've been saying, like control over how you react to it. How do you choose
to view it?
And then in the long run, if right now you're not doing what you want to do, or you're not fulfilled in your life because you're not living it a certain way, or you're not living it to your truth, how can you have control over your life?
How can you change that?
Exactly. To the degree where you're okay with it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of things what people say is there's, like, I know, like, your brother says it all the time. Like, if you want to be, he doesn't want to be part of the rat race, right?
Yeah.
And, like, when you think about it in long term, it's like, it's crazy to think that you feel like someone else has your control. I don't know what happened there. Sorry. I breathed really hard. I got into it. But it's crazy to think that, like, someone has control over your time. And that's why you're laughing. Don't start.
Just continue.
Your time. But
we're all limitless at the end of the day. Like, the only limitations that is put on us. I don't know what's so funny. The only limitations that we put on ourselves is what stops us. It's nothing else. And that's why are you laughing? But yeah, we do have control over the path that we decide to go down.
We also have the choice of who we choose to be around.
Yeah.
And who we choose as our partners, as much as sometimes you feel like you don't. But I think fundamentally we do, if you really think about it. Like, because that's going to be your bestie. You're going to be around for a long time if you choose to get married. If that's something you believe in. Or not. Or just common law, I think, is the other thing.
To each their own.
To each their own. True.
To each their own.
But
I believe in marriage, but like that's just my view on things. I'm not saying you have to have the same view as me.
Yeah, fair enough. But like, just because you're gonna be spending a lot of time with this person, and you're gonna ideally the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And do you really want to be around someone who makes you like irritated, or like doesn't
feel small,
make you feel small, or has a type of control over your life where you're not okay with,
or control over your emotions? Like they have, you give
or
them
manipulation, influence and manipulation, because like we've been saying that control is not real, right?
Yeah, but I feel like that's true. You give them the opportunity to influence how you feel, how you react, because they know what triggers you. But then on the other hand, if your partner knows what triggers you, there's a chance that they'll make sure that they avoid those things.
True.
Make a conscious effort to be like, hey, I know this triggers you, but I think this is something we really need to talk about. How would you like to go about it? How can I communicate better with you that you don't get triggered or anxious or stressed about what we're talking about or about a circumstance? And how can we find a solution to it?
Yeah, I think then it does affect you how, like, this person, if they can get around these issues or whatever, like the quality of person that you have by you will affect the rest of your life for you going forward.
Person can influence you into feeling safe, And like, it doesn't always have to be a bad thing that someone has, not control, but influence, or
because it can be a good influence. Like, are they influencing you to be a better person, to deal with your issues, or to like
bring
kind of
things to your attention? To be like, hey, I know that you may not see it this way, but this is how I see it. What do you think?
This other perspective.
Yeah. Like, I think you mentioned, like, in the first take as well, addiction. You do have control over the way you handle it. Because it may be hard in a moment. It might be really, really, really hard. I was going to swear there for a second. Yeah. But it's up to you to make that decision for yourself. Because nobody else can make it for you. But your why needs to be the thing that drives you the most.
Why are you doing it?
Yeah.
And a lot of times, like, it's more powerful, I find, when it's for yourself. Even, like, sometimes it could be for another person. But if it's, like, I truly want to do this to be the best version for this person. But the best version of myself for me, so I can show up for this person. To be able to be the best. And that we could have, like, that together.
Like, it's... Control is influence, essentially. So, we have the influence of other people, but I think what influences us most is that why. That is what gives us motivation for anything. That's what influences most of our decisions, because there's always a meaning behind why we do something. Whether we like to look at it that way or not, there is a root cause to why we react a certain way, why we like to avoid certain things. It's not that we don't want to see it in a different perspective. It's just that in that moment, we're not that self-aware. So that's not being self-aware kind of guides us and influences us in a way where it's like, I don't know why I'm choosing to do this. The things that I do have, quote unquote, control over. Why am I willingly choosing to do this? You need to just dig a little deeper within yourself and
find that motivation and be able to change your mindset in a way that you're not viewing things as black and white. Like that or even if it is black and white, if you really think life is black and white, then choose the other.
Choose one or the other.
Choose to be better every day. Wake up and choose to want to work on yourself and want to get past these issues. It's not going to be easy in the beginning. And it's not going to be solved.
Has anything ever been easy? When have we ever thought, hey, this is going to be easy? I find that in those moments where I'm like, yeah, this is easy, that's going to be the most difficult thing that you are going to have to deal with. Because in your mind, it's just like, it's that easy. No, it's not. Everything is deeper than surface level.
For sure.
And I don't know where I was going with that.
No, it's all good.
But I think having influence not only in that category, it can go into work-wise, it can go into your personal life, into just the relationships that you have around you, the people you choose to have around you, because they have a lot of influences on how and what you do and what choices you choose to go with. Because my mom says it the best. It's like, I want to be the smallest person at the table because I can learn so much. But if you're the one constantly just trying to pull someone up all the time, at what point it's easier to pull someone down than to pull them up.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's just you trying to pull up 5 different people, it's not going to be easy. And on the perchance that you are going to be getting pulled down before you can pull someone up.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe in that way, you have to look at the people around you and be like, hey, I don't really stand for this. Like, it's either I need to remove myself from this situation, because that's what you do have influence and direct control over.
Yeah.
Because you can't force someone to be something that they're not.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't also allow yourself to become someone you don't want to be.
That's not authentic. And it's not, because like to live your life authentically and truly to what you want to do or want to be, I think is the best, way to go towards happiness, a fulfilled life. Like to live with no regrets, in a sense. Like maybe regret little things, but that's the learning curve. But to be able to get to a point where you can do things and you're like, no, I've lived fully, I've lived happily, and now I'm happy to, to go through these stages, and once you're already done with your life, like I'm happy I lived through everything.
I feel like control, power, ego are all intertwined.
They can be, for sure.
And like there's no right or wrong way to deal with something, but there is a right and wrong way to approach certain situations, because you could avoid certain outcomes. But hey, if you're for those outcomes, go for it.
Yeah, that's your choice.
Yeah,
it's your life though.
It's your life though. Like that's what you have direct influence over.
And that's what you choose.
Yeah, you're choosing to take a more difficult route. I'm not saying it's the wrong route, but hey, it could be easier.
Like what you said about how it's easier to pull someone down than to pull them up. Immediately I thought, because gravity, like it's very literal and it's kind of jokes, but like gravity is working to pull you down.
Yeah.
And that's why it's easier for you to fall down than it is to pick yourself up. Because to pick yourself up, you have to go through the hardships of working against gravity and going against the grain, or maybe like the consensus, or trying to make it more general than everything else. So it's harder. I'm like, that's why it's harder.
Yeah.
Maybe because
there's another force against you in a way.
Exactly.
And like if you really think about it, it's so easy to be negative
and to play the victim and to say poor me. It's the easy. I love doing it. I used to like, I got to a point where I think I adapted that for certain people that were around me. And then I stepped back to, I'm like, what am I doing? Why am I thinking this way? What is, like, something happens, like, oh my gosh, this is so difficult. Oh, I'm so unfortunate. Like, oh, why does this happen to me? And you live your life long enough like that, and you truly start to believe that you are the victim.
And in a way, you're controlling your own reality.
Exactly.
You're influencing your own reality because you're only focusing on the negative. And when you're focusing on the negative, that's all you see. It's like, I heard this quote somewhere from a person at my brokerage. She was saying, when we say that, like, let's use a car, for example. I love Camaros. I own one. And before I got my Camaro, I was like, yeah, a white Camaro is my dream car. And, like, I was just having faith for it. But everywhere I would go, I would see a Camaro, and a white one at that. But it's because I was subconsciously looking for it. I wasn't putting much attention to it before, because I'm pretty sure there were other Camaros before I made my mind up like, hey, this is the car I want. But subconsciously, since I put that in my mind so often, I was looking for it. And I was able to, like, point it out right away. I was seeing more of it, per se. Whereas before, I would see it, but it wouldn't really register. It wouldn't have any meaning behind it. And that goes for focusing on the negative or focusing on the positive. If you're focusing on the positive and being optimistic, then at that point, all you're seeing is the good. Mm-hmm. You're seeing the good in the bad. Whereas when you're being negative, you're constantly seeing the bad in the good.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes you can see the good, but choose not to follow it, or choose not to. You see it, and then you just turn away because you go toward. You aim your head at where you want. Mm. You aim your attention at where you want it to grow.
Mm-hmm. Amen. That's a good one.
Yes. It's coming right off the head top.
But I think that we're going to come to an end of this pod about control. Thanks for tuning in.
Yes, it's been a great kind of experience. We're
still learning.
Well, again, still learning. I really don't think we'll ever get it down perfect. I feel like we'll always there's always something to learn.
There's always something to improve on. Technology is constantly evolving.
Yes, and also constantly failing us because of our poor little camera, but it's fine.
Yeah.
She's doing what she can.
You know what? She did a lot of work.
She did a lot of work. So. Multi-purpose.
Yeah. She's like, I need a break.
She's like, it's late. It's bedtime. Good night. You ain't going to bed? I'm going to bed.
Yeah, but thank you.
Yes. Thank you for tuning in. And hopefully you'll tune in for the next few episodes that are to come.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you. Bye.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
I didn't do anything.
Just give me a break. I didn't even get to breathe. Just went into it.
Okay, sorry. Are you ready to go into it? Okay. Ready? Okay. We clearly have a lack of control right now. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the... You said you were going to look at me.
I was looking down. I had to look up.
You're fucking sim. Okay. Sorry.
No, we're starting.
Communication is not key for me.
Don't look at me. Don't fucking look at me.
I'm not looking at it. Okay. I don't know why this is so hard.
It's always this fucking episode. No!
Hi, everybody. Welcome back. This is the Unity Lounge podcast. I'm Deja.
I'm Connie.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Are you looking at the camera?
Yeah, don't look at me. Don't look at me for this episode.
Okay.
Why are you laughing? I'm done with you. Stop.
Stop.